1, 2, 3. Clap. Did we get that? Eduardo, are we rolling? Mr. Gnome? All right. Welcome to the first ever podcast on the Extra Long Transaction channel. I don't actually have a name for this podcast. I've been calling it the Wiener Boy Podcast. It's so stupid. Oh, I've been calling it the Wiener Boy Podcast. Because I think that's funny. When in reality it's not. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited. I'm a little bit nervous, to be completely honest, because I am not prepared. I also don't really like. It's weird making videos and then making podcasts, because with videos, I just did it right there. Before this, I did like a pause, and it was like an extra pause, if you know what I'm saying, because in my mind I'm thinking, all right, when I'm editing this together, I'm gonna cut that part out, and I want a clean bit of space in between those two clips so then it seems like a nice seamless transition. But you know, that's not how human beings talk. It's just not. I'm also not sure. This is just a podcast about my failure. I'm not sure if this camera will work because I've tried this in the past where I did the podcast. I had Fortnite playing, and then I had a podcast, and I recorded after I recorded the gameplay, I edited over the audio as a voiceover, and I tried to record myself. That was like the last one I did, I think. It was where I was mentioning how I shaved my eyebrows. I shaved them again. Can you see? Do you see the difference? Oh my gosh, I punched the mic. And I kept referencing how I was looking at the camera and stuff like that, and then I had the file all set up. I went to export it into my thing, and it was like 3 minutes, and I couldn't figure out why it was only 3 minutes long, because I had 36 minutes worth of footage, and it just was condensed into 3, and I could not figure out how to do it. It was really weird too, because I could find the file, and I could click on the file, and it would be the full thing, but then I couldn't. Whenever I would drag that file into Premiere Pro, it would just be 3 minutes. So yeah, I kind of just said screw it, and didn't bother putting in the face cam. But hopefully we have it now. I have the backup camera, which is over here. I put it into OBS, and I don't know what I'm going to do this podcast. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm just now, I'm such an idiot. I'm just now realizing I only have 41 minutes worth of space. 41 minutes, 42 seconds, 41 seconds, 40 on this SIM card, because I forgot to delete a bunch of stuff, even though it's like a 32 gig, so plenty of space. Speaking of more failure, well, actually, here, let me, as this is the first official podcast on the new podcast channel, which will have other stuff and not just podcasts, I would like to welcome you guys here. If you're new, my name is Long Transaction. I am a millionaire, and I have several wives. All of my wives live within a 3-block radius of myself, and they're all best friends. Actually, there was someone who, that was kind of true. He didn't have it wasn't like a 3-block radius, but he had multiple wives, and they were friends with each other. Who was this? Oh my god, I need to look this up. I have my computer here. That would, I don't know how I'd feel about that. Let's see. Multiple wives celebrity. Okay, 7 famous polygamists, and their many wives. I don't care about Joseph Smith. I don't know who that. Brigham Young? He's a Mormon. The Jeffs. That's creepy as hell. It's not any of these people. Oh wait, maybe it's this. No, okay, I don't know who any of these people are. I have no idea. But it was like a famous celebrity. I was gonna say one of the members of the Beatles. All these are just all a bunch of garbage articles. You can tell when it's a garbage article because it'll be one of those click-through articles And those are the worst. I hate the internet sometimes because I'm looking for a single fact, right? Who is a famous celebrity that had multiple wives? Instead, because everything is driven by clicks, they're like, hey, you know that one fact you're looking for? How about you click through a bunch of ads to find out that one fact? And I don't like it. Well, anyway, whoever that was, he had 2 wives, and they were like, oh, wait, was this a TV show? Who was it? Wait. Oh, wait. Wait, what? Was this I might be thinking of a TV show, it's like a fiction show. It's not actually a real person. Oh, no. It was from it was a Colombian guy this is in Narcos, I think. Yeah, that's where it's from. So it's real, but it was from a TV show. Oh, I remember. It was the guy from Narcos, not Pablo Escobar, but he had a wife who would come like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then another wife who would come like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then on Sundays they would both come and he would watch football. He would watch soccer, and they were friends with each other. They didn't care that he had multiple wives. How long did that take? That was about 4 minutes of trying to figure out who I was talking about. Well, anyway, for some people that might be cool to have multiple wives, I guess, because you might get bored of one person. I don't know. For me, that'd just be kind of weird, but it's interesting to think about how when something actually isn't real, when it's just a thought in your head, sometimes it seems a lot better, a lot cooler. For example, the idea right now for me of having a Canon 60D, like one of those really fancy cameras, and then a what's it called? A Shure SM7B, I think. It's like it was the microphone that Michael Jackson used to record Thriller, I think it was Thriller. It's only about $400. I say only because in comparison with a lot of professional microphones, those could range up to like $5,000, usually a minimum of like $2,000. And Michael Jackson just used a $400. I don't know if it was $400 at the time, but the same microphone, and it became like one of the biggest hits of all time. I could buy that. It's the same podcast they use, or it's the same microphone they use on the H3H3 podcast, on the Tiny Meat Gang podcast, probably on others as well, because it's a really good microphone. You have to buy, if you don't have a really powerful audio interface, it needs a lot of power because it's a dynamic microphone. So you have to buy this like cloud adapter, which is an extra $150. So in total, you're spending close to $600, I think. So it's still not cheap, but in comparison, pretty cheap. Well, anyway, I do this thing where I go into Amazon and I look at things that I want to buy, and I just come back to it, and in my head I'm like, well, here's a pro, here's another pro about it, here's another pro about it. Now here's a con. It's a lot of money. And here's another con. I found it. It's very expensive. Oh, another con just popped up. I don't really need it. Like, this microphone is really good. This was $130, I think. It's a good microphone. You can hear me. I make sense. The Shure SM7B, yeah, it's a better microphone, but it's not going to make the difference between whether 1 million people listen to this podcast or you, Timothy. How are you doing? So, while it's cool to think about having something like that, it might be cool to think about having multiple wives. This is so weird. It might be cool to think about having multiple wives. When that actually happens, when you actually get it, it's kind of like, well, this isn't as great as I was expecting. It's kind of just the thought of wanting something. The thought of wanting something is what drives consumerism. The economy. Yeah, but you should buy my merch. I don't have any merch. You guys remember that time I had a shirt and it had a fedora on it and I was trying to sell it? I really want to sell merch because I could make $1,000,000,000. Jake Paul, he's going to become a billionaire off of just making little kids buy $100 clothing items, which that I can't even wrap my head around that. That is so just completely in a different world. Not only the whole Jake Paul, I think he's exploiting kids. That's in a whole world because I don't understand why you would even. I understand wanting the money because money's cool, money can buy you things, but the balancing of I get a lot of money, I exploit little kids. It's kind of like that. The exploitation kind of wins. So I wouldn't be able to live with myself even if I had $1,000,000,000. Maybe I could hire someone to live my life for me. So I can't wrap my head around that, but I also can't wrap my head around how people actually buy the merch. Like even if I were the little kid and I adored Jake Paul, I would never buy merch. I don't think I've ever bought merch from anyone. Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTubers. I've watched them for multiple years. I've never bought a single piece of merch. I don't really plan on it either, just because I don't care. I don't know. I like supporting YouTubers. Like you should support me, but I don't think about buying merch, which is kind of weird. But the reason I wanted to give people merch is because I think it's cool to like give back to people. But I remember Swede, if you're watching this, Swede, you told me how you wanted to buy the shirt, but shipping was like more than the shirt. Shipping internationally to Sweden was like $15 or $20 or something ridiculous. So in total, you're probably spending close to $30 for like I don't know the quality of the shirt. It was probably like a Gildan shirt. So, not that great. It had Love Dad on the back and it was black and it had a red fedora. Oh my gosh, I forgot rule number 1 about a podcast. You always need to have water. 13 minutes in and the struggle bus is here. There's water over there. I think it might be my brother's. This is so funny because this is exactly what happens. I watched the Insanely Chill podcast with Cody Ko, which is kind of what I'm copying in a way, except he has guests on it because he has friends. But he always forgets the water part. And I'm always just like, dude, just get the water. It's not a big deal. Just cut it out. Just walk up, go get the water. But I find myself in this moment in the exact same position as he did multiple times, where I could just hit the stop button, go get some water, and you know what? Just drink it, have a little sippy every now and then. But I'm not going to because I'm just so damn lazy. Oh, I could also walk over, get a gnome. I have a mini fridge right there. Fudge Pops are in there. There's some ice cream. I'm a big fan of mini refrigerators. I don't know, you guys, I feel like people are big fans of mini refrigerators. Just mini things in general. Like a mini horse. Miniature horses are cool. Miniature gnomes. Garden gnomes, that's cool. But the thing about the mini fridge is it doesn't take up so much room. And you put it usually in like a bedroom or a bathroom even, and it's kind of like, hey, this isn't supposed to be here. I got drinks and they're cold and they're in my room. So now I really want to go into the mini fridge, but I don't think I have any drinks in there. We used to have an older mini fridge because you know how people in college always want to have a mini fridge because they can't actually have a big refrigerator in their dorm room. My sister bought one, and then once she moved out, she didn't have a need for it because she had a full-size refrigerator. So we brought it in here, but it would build up a ton of ice in the freezer compartment. And so one day my brother it was really stupid of him, to be honest. He was using a screwdriver to cut out the ice, and then he hit one of the fuses that allowed for the cold air to go through, and basically just broke the mini refrigerator. So then we had to throw it away, and then we didn't have a mini refrigerator for like 4 years. And I liked it a lot because we would put sodas in there. We'd put like root beers. We had a, so right now I'm in my basement. And we've had like ups and downs with this room because we had to remodel it probably 13 years ago. I don't know. Over 10 years ago, we remodeled it because it was just a cellar with like a concrete floor. There were no lights. It was kind of gross. We remodeled it to make it our bedroom, and like we spent a good chunk of money on that, and it became really nice. And for a while, it was like the best area in this house because this is an older house, so it's not bad, but you can tell that it wasn't modern in any way in the rooms. But then we suddenly just got a huge space down here that was really cool. There was a ton of room. It had a bathroom. It had its own bathroom, which we still have, but the toilet doesn't work. So that was really nice. And when my brother graduated from high school in like 2008, 2009, he got a job selling ice cream. And then he tried to use the money to do this thing. We call it the men's room. And we wanted to like make a bar. We wanted to put up like a bar area and have seats. And we bought one of these. I thought this was the coolest thing ever. It was like a drink holder. And essentially what we wanted was you could have multiple drinks like at a bar on tap almost. So you could have soda. You could have like root beer. You could have Coca-Cola, you could have Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, whatever you want, and you would just have to turn it and then like open the faucet almost. It didn't even work like that. I don't think that's how the product was intended to be used. We still bought it. It kind of failed. We never got the bar area at all. We didn't get the seats. We just had the mini refrigerator for a while. But what we did have, we still have it. We put up bathroom signs for like, the men's room, like an actual men's bathroom sign. And it's still there. There was a really bad flood over a year ago that completely ruined this area. Once I had moved out to go to college, it kind of like, it was deteriorating anyway. But that flood that was like the straw that broke the camel's back almost. And there was mold because we had carpets. It flooded and it was terrible and you couldn't stay down here at all. So then we had to remodel it again, but it was kind of like a remodeling just to make it a storage area. So we have tile floor now. So if it does flood, because this area just floods for some reason, the tile the tile doesn't matter if it gets wet because it's kind of like waterproof. It's resistant. It won't grow mold or anything. Where was I going with this? Something about the basement. I don't know what I was talking about. I think I just had a miniature stroke there. Where am I? Am I on a podcast right now? Why is that gnome looking at me? I'm just stalling until I can remember what the heck I was talking about. We remodeled. Oh, I was talking about the mini refrigerators. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, I want a mini. I like mini refrigerators because of the drinks. Anyway, we we remodeled it recently, like a year ago. So now it works. Like, I liked it more with the carpet. It seemed more like a room. We still have like bug problems and it kind of smells bad down here. The toilet doesn't really work anymore. So there's still problems about this area, but it's better than when it was flooded. But the thing, here's how I will salvage this random story. The guy who did this work for us, not the original work of making it into a nice bedroom area, but into converting it with tile floors. The guy who did that, I have no idea how we found him. He was like some Indian guy who was from South America, and I could not figure out where he was from. French Guiana, I think. I think he was from French Guiana, but he had an Indian name, like from India. So I was really confused because I think he spoke French, but then he was Indian, and he had this really strange accent when he spoke English, and I don't know how we found him, but he did a pretty good job of doing everything. But then randomly, he had been working on it for like a month or 2 months, and the guy he was working on it with was a policeman, or I don't know if he was a former policeman or a current policeman or something like that. But then he suddenly they got into an argument about something. I think it was about the payment, how they were going to split it. I'm not really sure. And then he didn't come back, and he didn't finish. So there's still minor things like the ceiling tiles are kind of messed up. He didn't put the things on the outlets to cover those. We could do that pretty easily. He didn't fix the toilet, which is kind of important. And then he didn't even up the walls and everything. So it's kind of strange because it's like not finished, and it's probably never going to be finished. But it still functions. I mean, it's good enough, I guess. But the thing about that guy was we could not figure out where he went because we were still calling him. I think he got paid, but not the full amount because he didn't finish. Like, we gave him probably the majority of the money, because he did most of the work, and then he was going to come back and finish it, but he never did. But we looked him up, and he has like 15 DUIs. I don't even know how. I think that's an exaggeration. That's what I've heard, 15 DUIs, but I don't think you're actually. If you get more than 3 DUIs, I think you go to prison for an extended period of time, which could have happened to him. He had multiple DUIs, we'll put it that way. And then he was working with a policeman. So I started to think, what if this policeman just arrested him and then found out he was like a contractor and then wanted to get in on the work or something like that? Something really strange. One of those weird conspiracy relationship stories. That's what I was thinking of. But the best part about this whole thing is before he disappeared to never be found again, he asked us what color we wanted to paint the basement, because it was like a beige. It was a fine color. It was like beige or white. Maybe some of the walls were kind of messed up because of there might have been mold or something on it. I don't really know. But anyway, he was going to paint it, and we were like, I didn't really care what he painted it, to be honest. I wanted just like white or like a beige or something kind of bland. But then he had a bunch of paint samples that he got from a Lowe's or a Home Depot, and then either my dad, who's colorblind, picked it, or my mom, who is I don't know, she's not colorblind, but she has poor judgment. One of them picked the color, and you can see it right here, kind of. It doesn't look as bad. Well, I don't know. It does look pretty bad on video. This is like an egg yellow, like an omelet yellow. It's just the dumbest color I've ever seen. It's such a dumb color. It makes me think I'm going into a Mexican restaurant every time I come down here. And it looks so strange. So we have an omelet colored basement, and then I put up all this green screen stuff, and then this is all falling down. This is acoustic foam, because it gets really humid down here for some reason. Probably because of the excessive amounts of water that just comes up. So that's where I do this podcast, in my basement. That's where I do all my videos, in my basement. I kind of like it because it's just an area to come do my work. I have this huge desk that I got for $15. I had a setup video over a year ago. I think it was it was in like 2016. And this was before I had the computer. I might have had a setup video actually with the computer. I don't remember. That would have been 2017. But the other one was in my apartment. If you guys remember that apartment when I went to school. And this is the same desk, which I got for $15 at a state surplus, like a government surplus store. And it's such a good desk. It's one of the best desks I've ever used. And I don't ever want to move this desk. One, because I like this spot right here. but 2, because this weighs like 300 pounds. When we moved it into the apartment, I had to move it. My brother was here, my 2 sisters, and my mom. And we had to fit it through this really small door that I still, to this day, don't know how we fit it through. I think we had to angle it or something like that, because just basing off the naked eye, this does not look like it would be wide enough to fit through that door. So once we moved it into that apartment, we had it there for less than a year, probably like 10 months. And it was really good there. But then we, of course, had to move it because my lease ended at the apartment and I had to bring it back here. And so we had to move it again. But this time it was just me and my brother. And so luckily to get into the backyard, or to get into the basement, you go through the backyard and then there's a door back there, because we didn't want to bring it through the main entrance. Then you have to, I don't even know how you'd maneuver it through the hallway. So we went through the backyard, and luckily there's a slope downhill. So we kind of we picked it up and we moved it. And then once we got to the hill, we kind of just dragged it along. So there's a bunch of scratches, which that probably depreciates the value. But at the same time, I was really tired that day and I didn't care about how we got it here. I just wanted to get it in. I wanted to get my setup all good and ready. And I think it's a good setup. I mean, I always like to think about how much it costs, because I think it's interesting to see how much I've spent on something like this. And I don't know if any of you guys think about starting YouTube, maybe you have YouTube. Cost does play a factor. I don't think it's the most important. I don't think it's a barrier, because YouTube, you can literally do with like a phone. People start doing YouTube videos. They just get an iPhone. They record themselves talking, doing a vlog. They post it online. If they're funny enough, if they have a good personality, if they're lucky, if they know what kind of product, what kind of videos they're kind of trying to push, then it can work out. But it's still, for me, I like to up the production value slightly. So I'm gonna do this really quickly. So I'm not gonna think of everything that I have, but dang, I probably should have done this before. Think about how much I've spent on this YouTube. This computer I built pretty much for gaming and for computers. I mean, for gaming and computers, I built the computer. I built this computer primarily for video editing, it's pretty good. I have noticed a slight slowdown when I add effects and stuff like that, but the computer costs $700. It plays Fortnite pretty well, but it's not upper quality. I would say it's a medium to low medium in terms of gaming, for a gaming rig, because it does drop frames, but it's a good value. I can stream and it's good. I tried to stream before I knew about how intensive streaming was. I tried to stream using my MacBook Air, and it was just absolute nonsense. It was so bad, so laggy, it didn't work at all. So then that's kind of why I built this. So that was $700. I built it myself using people on Reddit. We have a TV here, which I actually inherited from my sister, so I didn't pay anything for that. It's an old TV. It's like 28 inches or something. It's okay. I have to turn it off when I record videos, when I record using this camera, because they have a blue light on it. So then if I turn this on, you could see it. It's like a weird light that reflects on me. So that was free. This monitor is $130, I think. $130 for this gaming monitor. We got the webcam, which was $60, so $190 plus the $700. We're almost at $1,000 already, so that's $900. PS4, I mean, that's not really. That was I bought it anyway, and then I bought something else. I'll still count it because it's part of my rig. So $900 plus. What did I pay for it? I bought it in like 2014. Dang, that was 4 years ago. Wow, that seems like it was yesterday. When I bought that, I had been watching FIFA videos, FIFA 14 and FIFA 15, for a long time, and I was really excited to buy it and to play FIFA, because I hadn't played FIFA in a long time. Well, it's trippy. It's like nostalgic almost thinking about that was 4 years ago, but I still remember it like this is yesterday. I came home and my basement was really gross and dirty, but I set it up. We had a TV. It was like a 32-inch Samsung or something like that, and I was playing Ultimate Team. Oh yeah. Okay, so this was the first time I had actually ever played Ultimate Team, because in FIFA 11 they had it, or FIFA 10, whichever one I had previous to that. They had it, but you actually had to pay to use Ultimate Team, and at the time I was like 15 or something, so I didn't feel like paying $10 to do something on a game that was really old. So I had never played Ultimate Team, and I always thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like building teams, building hybrids. I was just obsessed with that. And so I built a team, and I remember just taking a bunch of long shots with Teo Gutierrez. And I was taking them from ridiculous lengths, like probably 45 yards out, and they were going in. And I thought, this is the best game ever. I played it for at least 4 hours into 1 a.m. easily. Played it for a really long time. And you know how you get moments when you think, gaming moments almost, where you're like, I specifically remember how much fun that was. And that probably, I'm trying to think, that probably is like number one. Number one might be, actually no, number one's probably playing Modern Warfare 2 with my friends. That was in like 8th grade, 9th grade. That's number one. Just all those, just playing with friends was really fun. But probably number two was playing by myself. The first time I had ever played Ultimate Team. Now that I think about it, it's definitely top 5. But number 2 is probably Bronze to Glory stuff, because I don't know how many of you guys were here for this, but Bronze to Glory, it was the video where I edited in the Aguero, because I had won like Division 3 or Division 2 in FIFA 16, yeah. I had won FIFA 16 Division 2 or Division 3, and I had a huge comeback, and it was, to this day, I think one of my best videos ever. The quality's not great. Like I didn't measure everything, and the production value is not that high, but the content itself of like the storyline behind it, I think is one of the best videos I've ever made. That was in my attic, actually. I go into the attic and I go into the basement to make videos. That's probably number 2. I occasionally go back and look at that video. I would go right now, but it's way back in time. I don't remember the name of it. I'm probably, after this podcast, I might look it up. I might put it in the comments if I can remember. Like that video makes me smile when I think about it, because even I remember I might have posted that on Reddit. I don't know if I did. In FIFA 16 with the Bronze to Glory stuff, I could post it on Reddit and people thought it was cool. If I tried that now, I don't know if people get like paranoid or the FIFA community has become toxic. If I tried that now, I would get downvoted immediately, and people would be like, stop posting your channel, no one wants your content, you suck. And it's like, what? Do you guys want to just complain about FIFA all day? I mean, I don't know. Times have changed, but that video is really cool. I like that one a lot. But the Teo Gutierrez banging long shots in the first night of FIFA 15, the first time I'd played Ultimate Team, that also brings a smile to my face. Let's see, we've done this for 35 minutes. I want to keep going, but I don't have, okay, I can do like 15 more minutes before I run out of time or something like that. It's hard when you do a podcast by yourself, because when you have someone else, it's so much easier because you don't have to talk the whole time. It's like having a conversation with someone, whereas this one's kind of just, I'm talking at you guys. I still think it's valuable. I think actually YouTube commentating, making videos has helped me express myself a lot more, or has helped me wow, this is so ironic. It's helped me express myself much better, as seen prior to this with my terrible explanation of what I meant to say. But when you make a video, some people might disagree because they think the jump cut, the cuts can save you, which I do agree. If you're the kind of person who says like every second and you can't think of how to structure your sentences, this happens to me too when I talk way too quickly. That's why with a podcast, when I'm trying to explain something a little bit more complicated, when I'm trying to get my point across very clearly in a video, I usually take it a little bit slower because I don't want to confuse myself, and I also, of course, with communication, I don't want to confuse who I'm talking to. But with what was I saying? I stroked out again, boys. With doing a podcast by yourself, it's kind of like you gotta think about what you're talking about, but then you also have to you have to have escape plans almost, like where can I take this conversation? But yeah, it's helped before. If I look at the older videos that I've done on YouTube, I feel like I'm so awkward in them. Even that video I was talking about that I said was like one of my best videos ever in terms of content. If I cringe watching it. I hate the word cringe because it's such an overused term, but really I do cringe. I bet if I watched this video, this podcast that I'm doing right now in 3 years, even in a year, I will cringe at it because I never like my past self. I always think the guy's such a loser. He's such a nerd. He doesn't know anything about life. Why is he doing that stupid voice? Whereas current LT, the one in this exact moment, is king of the world. I am the Simba to this lion king, which is just stupid. That's what I think about. I think Logan Paul and Jake Paul and all these YouTubers who are famous and they've kind of just blown up out of nowhere. Lil Tay. Have you guys heard about this Lil Tay? She's like 9 and she curses and she like has stacks and it's just a bunch of nonsense. The thing that makes them popular the thing that makes them famous and popular and like able to grow is they're ignorant. And ignorant in the way of they don't care about how people perceive them. So I don't mean to be like they're ignorant, they're stupid. I'm just saying they're ignorant to the fact that people perceive them in a certain way. Whereas other people will overthink, they'll overanalyze, they'll be like, oh, well, what if people don't like my content? I do that all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, this podcast sucks. I don't want to put it out there. Whereas they're kind of just like, I don't care. You know what? I'm gonna use a term that you youth might know. They are very team YOLO, whereas I am team, oh no, I hope people like my content. I think it's good to have a balance of both, but for some reason on YouTube, it seems like being team YOLO and not really caring what people think, that is the way to go. I say that, but it's also with this wave of like random people on Instagram becoming famous for just drama. It's not so much that they're calculated, I'd say. They're calculated to a certain extent, like they know how to play up on their character of, hey, I'm the little 9-year-old who curses and has a bunch of money and is like Miranda Cosgrove's daughter or something. I don't know. I don't really know the whole story behind that. But they kind of just like lucked into it, I think. It's kind of just they acted a fool and it somehow became popular for them, so they continued to act a fool. So I've always wanted, I didn't plan any of this. I just kind of rambled for a long time, but I did think about this point earlier that I wanted to bring up. I've always thought it would be cool to exchange lives or exchange positions with someone for even just a day. Like you could choose, if I had a superpower, it would be that I could switch bodies, switch experiences with anyone, and then I could switch back whenever I wanted. I was thinking about this because of the song Lil Dicky, or Freaky Friday by Lil Dicky, where he switches bodies with Chris Brown because they both want to experience like the other side of thing. Chris Brown doesn't want to be recognized by paparazzi and by fans, and Lil Dicky wants to no longer be Lil Dicky, if you catch my drift. And I've always thought that would be really cool, because some days, I want to be Justin Bieber, and I want to pop bottles and dance with models and go full throttle. What else rhymes with be a toddle? No. I think that would be really cool. But then at the same time, going back to the whole thing about like whatever you don't have is what you want, I know that I would get bored of it. I would at some point I would just be like, you know what, being Justin Bieber and having billions of dollars and having all the girls like me, this has become boring. It's commonplace for me. And then I would switch to being like a hermit who lives in a cove off the coast of Santa Cruz or something just really random. Something I like going with extremes. It'd just be cool to experience the whole spectrum. Right now, I feel like I am in the exact middle. I am the average Joe. I'm the most average person in the world. That's what I've always felt. I felt like I'm the most average person. And I think that there's a market for average. It's just not very big. People don't really, especially on YouTube, with little kids. Maybe this is the thing. Maybe the market for average is with older people. Maybe like 25 and up. I'm very popular with the older crowd, if you know what I mean. Whereas younger people think that I'm a little wiener. That is why this is a Little Wiener podcast, because people think I'm a little wiener. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to just experience life with different roles. You know, just become a billionaire. This might be, I don't know if this is offensive, but sometimes I think it'd be interesting to be homeless just to see how it's like. And I don't want to say it'd be fun to be homeless, because being homeless sucks and people struggle with that. But I think it'd be just an interesting experience to know what they go through. It's such a hard line to tread, because I'm thinking about this video that we watched when I was in college. It was a movie about these people who they were just like college white kids. They're like rich white kids, and they went to live in some Latin American country to see how it's like. Kind of what I was just saying about what it's like to be homeless. They were doing what it's like to live in poverty on like 50 cents a day or something ridiculous like that. And I went to a pretty liberal school, but we were discussing like the ramifications and the consequences and how everyone felt about the video. And an overwhelming majority of people thought the movie on Netflix, you can watch it, I don't remember the name of it. They thought the white kids were like stupid, and they were bashing them. They were like, they're just doing it for a video. They don't actually care about what these people go through. And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be outnumbered like 30-1 or something. But the whole time I was thinking, well, at least they're trying to kind of connect with people to see what they go through. I mean, the main point of contention was the fact that one of them got sick, and then he went to like a hospital, and he got treatment that was really expensive. And there's no way these poor villagers would have been able to afford it. And I was thinking, well, I mean, it's not like he actually is the poor villager. Of course he's doing it for a video to experience what it's like. It's not like he wants to die. It's not like he's playing a game where he's like, well, I've become a poor villager. I guess I can't buy these antibiotics, and I'll just have a stomach larva growing inside of me, and I'll die. But I died a noble death. That's ridiculous. And I couldn't really wrap my head around that and how people felt that was the main problem with it. I think there were probably some problems with the whole video, but I don't know. People tend to be up in arms for the underrepresented, the lower class, like people who are kind of put down, which is a good thing, I think. But at times it becomes a little bit overbearing when people are like, we must speak up for them when they have no voice. When the people who have no voice, they don't really care. Like the people in the villagers liked having these white guys around. They liked having this social experiment almost, because it brought attention to them so people would know what it's like. I think if you look at the overall balance of good and bad, I think it did, that video, that movie, whatever you want to call it, that show, it did a lot more good. Jeez, my voice. It did a lot more good than bad. I mean, that's like the most important thing. Yeah, I don't know, boys. I don't know. Okay, 45 minutes done. This is like the longest podcast I've ever done. I think it was a good 45 minutes. I need to bring water next time. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, be sure to drop a like. I hope you like this podcast. I hope you like the second channel. It's a chill channel. It's called Extra Long Transaction, ELT, because it's better than BLTs. I'm gonna probably watch some NBA basketball hoops. I'm trying to think of ways to improve the podcast. If you guys have any suggestions, please be sure to leave those down below, because I like suggestions. Suggestions are good. I always feel like I should never do this part at the end, because when I watch a video, I have a tendency to click off before I actually get to the end. Like if I see there's only 3 minutes left, I won't always watch it. So I might be speaking to like fewer people now than if I had done this earlier. But if you guys are watching, please leave suggestions. I was thinking about having a letter reading suggestions time where I give advice, because I saw that on the True Geordie podcast and I thought it was interesting. They have a tendency to kind of give questionable advice, I'd say. I don't know. I'm not saying my advice would be the best, but I'd like to give it a shot if you guys care. If you guys want that, I don't know, just write a comment. I'll read the comments. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. I need to get some water because my voice is done. But it's been your boy, LT. My gnome, Eduardo, is over there. He says bye as well. Don't forget spare pets, boys.